The Art of Loving by Erich Fromm. Chapter 1. The Theory of Love. The theory of love is one of the central themes of Erich Fromm's book, The Art of Loving. In this book, Fromm offers a profound and reflective view of love, exploring its multiple dimensions and meanings. According to Fromm, love is not simply a feeling or an emotion, but an active and committed attitude towards another person. Fromm's theory of love is based on three main components: care, responsibility, and respect. Care refers to active and committed concern for the well-being of the other person. Responsibility refers to taking responsibility for our actions and the relationship as a whole. Respect refers to valuing and appreciating the other person for who they are, not for what they can do for us. For Fromm, true love is a conscious and active choice that we make to care, respect, and take responsibility for another person. This involves a deep and lasting commitment, rather than just a fleeting infatuation or superficial attraction. Fromm also argues that love is not something that simply happens to us, but something that we actively build through our actions and attitudes. In his analysis of the theory of love, Fromm also explores the relationship between love and freedom. According to him, true love is not a state of emotional dependence, but a relationship based on freedom and mutual independence. For Fromm, freedom is essential for true love, as it allows both people to be themselves and value each other for who they are. In addition to his focus on the theory of love, Fromm also examines several specific forms of love, including maternal love, erotic love, and self-love. In his analysis of maternal love, Fromm argues that this is an unconditional love based on caring and concern for the well-being of a child. As for erotic love, Fromm maintains that this is a love based on physical and sexual attraction, but that it can also include emotional commitment and active care for the other person. Finally, Fromm also examines self-love, which he argues is essential for any form of true love. Self-love involves valuing and respecting oneself, but also taking responsibility for our actions and actively caring for our own emotional and psychological health. In summary, Fromm's theory of love is a profound and reflective exploration of love as an active and committed attitude towards another person. According to Fromm, true love is based on care, responsibility, and respect, and is a conscious and active choice we make to care for, value, and take responsibility for another person. By exploring the multiple dimensions of love, Fromm offers a unique perspective on one of the most important and complex topics of human life. Chapter 2. Love in Freudian Theory. Love is a recurring theme in the work of Sigmund Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis. In his theory, Freud argues that love originates in childhood through the relationship with parents. Freud believes that children develop a deep and unconditional love for their parents as a result of the satisfaction of their physical and emotional needs, and that this relationship lays the foundation for future romantic relationships. Freud also argues that romantic love is based on a deep need for union with another person, which he calls the instinct of fusion. This instinct originates in the person's need to reunite with their beloved object and ultimately with the world at large. According to Freud, this impulse can lead to complete emotional fusion between two people, a union that is characterized by the loss of individuality and identity in a symbiotic relationship. In his theory of love, Freud also examines the role of the ego and the superego in the loving relationship. The ego is the part of the mind that controls reality and physical needs, while the superego is the part of the mind that represents social values and norms. Freud argues that true love must reconcile these two aspects of the mind so that the person's physical and emotional needs are balanced with social values and norms. Furthermore, Freud argues that romantic love is a form of sublimation, meaning that sexual needs are channeled into a romantic relationship that transcends physical desire. According to Freud, sublimation is a form of civilization of sexual impulses, and romantic love is a way in which people can satisfy their physical and emotional needs in a socially acceptable manner. On the other hand, Freud also argues that the loving relationship can be a source of conflict and neurosis, especially if the relationship is marked by sexual desire and loss of individuality. In extreme cases, the loving relationship can even become a form of mental illness. According to Freud, in summary, Freud's theory of love is based on the idea that love originates in childhood through the relationship with parents and is driven by the instinct of fusion. Furthermore, Freud argues that true love must reconcile the person's physical and emotional needs with social values and norms. Although the loving relationship can be a source of conflict and neurosis, Freud also argues that romantic love is a form of sublimation and can be a socially acceptable way to satisfy the person's physical and emotional needs. Chapter 3. The practice of love. The practice of love is a central theme in the work of the psychologist and social philosopher Erich Fromm. For him, love is a skill that can be developed and cultivated throughout life, and is essential for our happiness and well-being. According to Fromm, love is not simply a feeling or an emotion, but an attitude and an active behavior. The practice of love involves four main elements: caring, responsibility, respect, and knowledge. Caring refers to active and committed concern for the well-being of another person. It involves making constant efforts to meet the physical, emotional, and intellectual needs of the loved one, without expecting anything in return. The second element of the practice of love is responsibility. Fromm argues that love is a responsibility, not a passion. This means that we must be responsible for our own actions and choices, and take responsibility for caring and protecting the loved one. Respect is the third element of the practice of love. It refers to the recognition and acceptance of the other person as they are, without trying to change or control them. Respect involves honoring and valuing the individuality and autonomy of the loved one, and allowing them to be who they really are, instead of trying to impose our own expectations and desires on them. Knowledge is the fourth and final element of the practice of love. To truly love someone, we must know them deeply, not just superficially, but in terms of their personality, history, desires, and fears. Knowledge involves actively listening and paying attention to the other person, and making the effort to understand their needs and desires. Fromm also distinguishes between two types of love: mature love and immature love. Immature love is selfish and possessive, based on the need to satisfy our own needs and desires. In mature love, on the other hand, the goal is the well-being of the other person, and love is based on equality, autonomy, and mutual respect. For Fromm, the practice of love is essential for our happiness and well-being, but it is also a difficult and challenging task. To truly love, we must overcome our own selfishness and fears, and commit to caring and protecting the other person in a committed and responsible manner. Fromm also emphasizes the importance of self-acceptance and self-love in the practice of love. In order to truly and deeply love another person, we must first learn to love and accept ourselves. The practice of self-love involves learning to recognize and accept our own weaknesses and limitations, and working to improve them. In conclusion, the practice of love is a skill that can be developed and cultivated throughout life. It involves caring, responsibility, respect, and knowledge, and is based on mature love, which is selfless and focuses on the well-being of the other person rather than satisfying our own selfish needs and desires. The practice of love is essential for our happiness and well-being, but it is also a challenge that requires commitment, responsibility, and self-acceptance.